welcoming us here tonight. I'm Kendra Foley. I have been on the school committee for 8 years, and the last 2 I have served as chair. I'm running for re-election because I love the work. I really do, and I care about this community, and I really believe in the value and the promise of public education. My husband Tim and I have 3 kids in the Watertown Public Schools. There are 2 in middle school, 1 in high school, 6th, 8th, and 10th, and then we've spent a decade before that as parents of Hosmer students. So we came from Hosmer to middle school to the high school. A little bit about myself. I was actually born and raised in Watertown. I went through the Watertown Public Schools and then on to BC. My professional background is politics, government, nonprofit development, and education policy. So I worked for Governor Patrick for 8 years. His first term I was the chief of staff to his Secretary of Education. Second term I served as his director of boards and commissions and loved being in his administration. Oh, it's my father and mother. Thanks for coming, I want to miss it. I spent 3 years working at the Harvard Graduate School of Education, actually with Paul Revel, who was the Secretary of Education for Governor Patrick, doing some work around how do we better support kids using the district, the city, and our nonprofit partners. And I actually worked in Salem with Lieutenant Governor Kim. And I spent a number of years as the director of development at a nonprofit called Mass Budget and Policy Center, which is a progressive think tank and really focused on social, economic, and social justice issues. Did a lot of work on the Student Opportunity Act, making sure, advocating for more funding for districts, primarily districts that were low-income districts, and also Fair Share. They did a lot of research around advocating for Fair Share, so they've been a partner. I know Steve has worked with them and knows their work well. And now I work at the Kendall Square Association. So again, I said I've been on the school committee for 8 years, and I am really proud of the work we've done there. I'm proud of the team, and I'm proud of my role as chair. It was my first year that I chaired the committee to hire a new superintendent, and we hired Dr. Galdston, and she's really been foundational for the progress we've made and the successes we've had in this district. And just a reminder that the importance of leadership, it really makes a big difference. I worked really hard to build relationships with our colleagues on the city council. They are our partners in so much of this work, and we've worked together to do really impressive things. We've had great operating budget increases that support the needs of our educators as well as our students. And when you drive around town, you see the amazing infrastructure, the buildings that we've been able to invest in because of that partnership, because of that trust that we've established. So I really appreciate my colleagues on the city council. They've been great partners and team members for the work we do, and they get a lot of credit. Again, we built 3 new buildings, two from scratch, and 1 totally renovated elementary school. The 2 new elementary schools are net zero energy efficient. We are breaking ground on a new high school, which is really, really exciting, and it's going to be a state-of-the-art building, energy efficient, like the 2nd type of that in the country. It's just something we should really be proud of. I know I am, and it's going to be a beacon for this community, for our educators, for our students, and for everyone here. So, built strong relationships with our legislators. Steve Owens, who's here, we have really incredible partners in the State House with Steve and John Lawn and Will Brownsberger. Hey, Vinny. And they've really advocated for our needs, and I'm so grateful for that advocacy, Steve, both for building work, for the needs of the district, the needs of the city. We're really lucky to have them as partners. We have seen a lot of academic growth and opportunities for our students also over the last 8 years. Just recently, our Hosmer Elementary School got an award for academic achievement and growth. Really exciting things happening there. Our high school just got an award for opening up pathways and opportunities and supports for AP classes. We now pay for all AP classes, so money is never an obstacle to taking high-level courses. We do the same thing with PSATs. All sophomores and juniors take it, even if they don't know they want to go to college. as a sophomore, they're gonna be ready, and we wanna make sure that they have every opportunity possible for them. We've invested in our arts and our music programs. Many years ago, we eliminated fees for music rentals, so all of our students have opportunities. We recently just eliminated fees for all athletics and all extracurricular activities. And these things are important in any district, but they're really important here because Watertown is a really diverse district. And that's a huge asset. And we also need to really think about what we invest in and how we invest in it, because we need to take care of all of our kids and make sure that all the opportunities are available to all of them. So Watertown is 36% of our students are considered low income. That's 1 in 3 students in every classroom is considered low income. 40% of our students speak a different language at home. And 45% of our students are non-white. And when we build a budget, we need to think about these kids and how we can better serve them every single year, because our budget is a moral document and we need to make sure that our investments are reaching each of those kids. And just one example, we have a growing English language population in Watertown. The last 5 years we've seen a big growth, and 1/3 of that growth, those kids have never gone to a US school. So you have a big cultural difference, you have language differences. So we've really thought about what do we need to do to invest in those schools. From a school committee perspective, the budget is our responsibility. So a couple of things is adding more English language educators and more curricular support for our educators. Adding multilingual family liaisons so that we can better reach out and reach those families and connect with them. We created an LPAC, which is an English language parent advisory committee, so that those parents can be engaged in the school and have their voices heard. And we've been diversifying the libraries. And this sounds like a little thing, but this is really important and something I'm particularly proud of, because at a time when you're seeing districts across the country banning books, we are adding diversity to our books. And we are adding perspectives that are really valuable and reflect our students, and I'm really proud of that. And I'll stop in a minute so we can do questions, but the last thing I would say is we've built a really strong team on the school committee. We have diverse perspectives, and those perspectives really add value, and I think they create a better product in the end and a better decision in the end. So I'm proud of the team, I'm proud of my 8 years, I'm proud of my 2 years as chair, and I hope to continue to serve this community, and I ask for one of your 3 votes on November 7th. And I am open to any questions folks have. Yes?
You spoke for a little bit on the fact that we have a lot of non-English learners.
Yeah.
And at the forum, you also spoke about, they asked you the hypothetical question, what if you got more money, what would you do? And I loved your answer, that you'd start an early intervention program, or a pre-K program.
Okay, yeah.
Given, and I'm sure you're aware of the fact that these kids that are coming from homes where English isn't spoken, by the time they hit kindergarten, they are really far behind on their vocabulary. And that follows them through kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, so that early intervention is really important. Have you given any thought to that, to also address the needs of those children? And if you did that, would you prioritize them for early childhood programs?
So we are looking at universal pre-K in Watertown. And I mean, when you think about Watertown, we were one of the first communities 30 years ago that had universal kindergarten, before anyone else did. We were really avant-garde on that, and we're working with our partners in the legislature and federally about how we can support universal pre-K. So it's really a priority. It's a priority for all kids. And when we think about the needs of our neediest students, when we think about their needs first, then what we're doing for them is actually good for everyone. So there's a theory called the curb cut effect, which is around, when we first cut curbs, they were cut for someone with a disability. But you know what? Those cut curbs help everyone. They keep us all safe. They give us a place to cross. They keep our kids safe. So when we think about the needs of those who need it the most and need the most support, we're really thinking about everyone. But so we are working on universal pre-K. And that would include any family who wants access to it. Sure. Are there any other questions? Yeah.
I'm just curious about the AP curriculum. What, how many AP courses do you intend to add?
So we're not adding AP courses. What we've done, we have 17 AP courses offered at the high school. And what the College Board came back and gave us an award for it, and it was really about access. So how are we providing both access for more kids to take AP courses, and then how are we supporting them? So just providing them access is like half the job. If we're not supporting them through those courses, we're really not doing the whole job. So it's really about encouraging more kids to take those courses. This is the first year that if you took an AP course, you're required to take the test. It's also the first year that AP tests are free, and the district covers those costs. So that's, the principal is very focused on how do we encourage more kids to take high-level courses and reduce the barriers. Yeah.
I'm concerned about children, students with disabilities. How is the program changing? How is it improving?
I mean, this is kind of something that we work on forever, right? And we have been working on forever. I would say over the last 8 years with this superintendent, she has focused on making as inclusive opportunities as possible. So we have our classrooms, we have separate classrooms, and we have outplacements for students with disabilities. We want to create as many opportunities in our classrooms as possible for all our kids, because they should be learning in our classrooms with our kids. That means we bring supports in so that they can access the curriculum in the same way, but we want to be as inclusive as possible in the environments that our students with disabilities are in.
So you're conducting core evaluations for these students?
Conducting core evaluations.
Well, that's when you identify, I've worked with,
Sure.
That's when you identify that there is a need. And then you have different people, speech teachers, different teachers.
Oh, yeah.
And they all get together and they write a curriculum for what that child needs.
Yes, those.
I mean, some need residential, and some can be, you know, I was a special needs tutor, and I know I had to follow the protocol from
Yeah.
those core evaluations.
Yes, those all exist. We have special education teachers, we have a team chair at each school. They have team meetings to talk about the needs of each student, to make sure that they're following their IEP for each student. It's an individualized education plan, and that it all happens with each student who has special needs in the school.
I know we talked about it a little bit before, but I was a little more curious about what your opinions are on alternative assessments for MCAS.
Yes, that's a good question, and as we were saying, I'm surprised it hasn't come up before. It didn't come up in the debate. MCAS as a graduation requirement and MCAS in general it's a big topic, and I know it's being talked about a lot. I would say my perspective on MCAS is twofold. One, it has flaws. It absolutely does, and I think there's things that we really need to do to address it. There's things around when the test is taken, how the test is taken, when our data comes back to us, how we use that data, and also in the question creation, we really need a diverse group of educators who are creating those questions to make sure A, they're on grade level, and B, they're reflective of the community, and that's not happening right now. But these are things we can absolutely do to address some of the issues with MCAS. There's also a lot of value to the test. And there's two things in particular I would say. One is MCAS is a really important tool for equity, because what it does is it allows us to differentiate data to different groups of students to say, like, are we meeting the needs of our English language learners? Are we meeting the needs of our students with special needs? Are we meeting the needs of our low-income students? And it allows us to really face that data and take a look at it and make adjustments accordingly. So that's really important. It's also a really important tool for self-improvement. We want to always be doing better by our students every single year. So we can look at that and say, you know, we did really, really well in 5th grade math and ELA. So what's happening there? What are we doing that we can then transfer to other places? We struggled in a certain grade. So what are we doing there? What are the investments that we need to put into that work, or the coaching that needs, or the new curriculum, so that we can really identify where our strengths and weaknesses are. So it's really important tool for both equity and for self-improvement. In terms of a graduation requirement, this is a really tricky one. And I would say there is a movement, I know there's some legislation to eliminate MCAS as a graduation requirement. What I would say is I would rather not eliminate it, but I would like to change it and to supplement it. So right now, there's 0.009% of our students cannot graduate because they don't pass MCAS. I think it is our responsibility to create an alternative way for those kids. It's a small subset. For those kids to show their proficiency so that they can have that opportunity. Not every learner is the same. And so for the vast majority, they're gonna pass MCAS. And for that 0.009%, we should give them an opportunity to show their proficiency in another way. It should be run by the state, so there's a lot of consistency in it. And there's been work in thinking on this already, and I just think it's something we can absolutely do, and it would allow us to do two things. It would allow us to both maintain our high standards and also really respect the different kind of learners that are out there, and making sure that we're doing the best we can to support all of them. So that's where I stand on that issue.
We're at 15 minutes, I'm sorry, Dennis.
I'll talk really fast if you wanna ask.
30-second answer?
How-
Okay.
Okay.
How long before the new high school is opened, A, and B, what is the cost for the temporary high school?
The temporary high school is about 27 million, I think it is now. And it will be done, right now it's scheduled to be finished April of 2026. So my sophomore will walk through the new high school on his way to graduation.
Why not?
Thank you, Kendra.
Thank you so much.